And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. This is a directed network, and I am net control. If at any time during this net should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our QSO-VLOG network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the loudest, fullest sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the QSO-VLOG network with the phrase, if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. And today we're currently featuring over 1,700 QSO-VLOG Aircheck recordings. Our mission statement for the network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. We're looking to optimize the transmitted voice for a higher degree of intelligibility through the use of EQ patterns that bring out the articulation aspects of the human voice. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we are running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia, trying to get the best signal possible from our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also in this selector is our local receiver audio. And today our local receiver is running 2 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 of the selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. Also today, on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR specially oriented dipole antenna. One leg of this dipole is broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg is broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube QSO-VLOG video. As we come together for another Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you will protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history, with dark clouds all around, we pray that you will reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters. And through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, since this is an area of the band where we have many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, I would appreciate all stations checking in to our QSO-VLOG net to keep their bandpass to no wider than 100 to 2900. Again, please, no wider than 100 to 2900. This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. And now let's check in and see if Charlie K1GZL is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up north in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
8 to 10 over, direct on this 71-degree day, where it's trying to cloud up with a thin overcast and a weak hazy sun. So, and a little breezy out of the south to west. If you copy, go ahead, Jim. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, I went to my main go-to SDR, and you weren't there, and I was wondering, I think you had a problem earlier, and I called for you, and I don't know whether you could copy me or not, but I thought you might not be there. And then I went over to Rochester, and you were loud and clear. So then I looked up, and lo and behold, my Milford SDR got on the wrong frequency. So I'm copying you on Rochester at about 15 over now, Roger.
Okay, Jim, Roger on that, and I'm sorry that Milford and it didn't work out too well. But you're coming in extremely well, very well this afternoon.
Testing. We're on a big lecture spread on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly.
Okay, there you are, very clear. Although we have a lot of static. Still, we haven't got that Eversource problem straightened out. I still have this line noise on 20 meters, this line noise on 20 meters, and the fellow that had me here, he's on vacation until early August. So I think they're going to try to get somebody else up here to try to clear it off. I got off 40 meters on Wednesday morning, but early in the morning, thinking I could work into Australia or the South Pacific. But at the time I got on, conditions were terrible down there. It was just Florida, Georgia, and that area coming through, but nothing out of the South Pacific. And Captain Mike is not in the air right now. He's off on that 2-week vacation. So it'll be the week after next that we'll start talking to Captain Mike for about 2 weeks. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, now I've got Milford cooking. You were about 15 over on Milford, about 5 dB hotter on Milford than the Rochester SDR. So it's always neat to be able to just take a rotary switch and just click one little click there and have about 5 dB of noise to the better come up. Anyway, what's the temp up there in the weather?
What's the temp up there in the weather?
For right now, it's 71 degrees out in the shade outside. 71 degrees. We had a low this morning of 50, let me think now, what was it? Yeah, 49, whereas some of the valley locations were down in the mid-30s. Well, that's radiational cooling, and with radiational cooling, we don't get, the higher elevations are warmer than the lower because you have a temperature inversion. that sets up. But it got up right now is the high we've had for the day at 71. And the normal high now is about 66 degrees. And we average in July a normal high of 72 and a normal low of 56, which is not hard to take. The warmest summer day we've had all season so far was, I think, 2 weeks ago, at the same time I was talking to you, when it got up to 84. That's as warm as we've been all season so far. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. I just looked up on my Milford SDR, and you were 20 over on that last transmission, pretty much the whole thing. Now, the internet is trying to kind of kick around a little bit. I'm getting a little sputtering, not very hot, but a little sputtering in the background, which I would prefer not, but it's not dropping any words. So that's a good thing. Sometimes the next step after sputter is that, an internet will start dropping words, but this one hasn't done that yet. Anyway, Charlie, I appreciate your checking in, sir, as always, and you have a real good weekend coming up. Roger.
You have a real good weekend coming up. Roger.
Okay, Jim, you also. I certainly hope you're healthy and it all works out for you. Yeah, you're coming in very, very well direct.
Sometimes the next step after sputter is that the internet will start stopping words, but this one hasn't done that yet. Anyway, Charlie, I appreciate your checking in, sir, as always.
Always a pleasure working. You also, Jim. So I'll sign with you, and hopefully we'll see you next Friday. See you next Friday. KC9VKV, K1GZL at 71 degrees.
Roger, Charlie, 73 up that way, sir. And again, have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. And this is the Friday Afternoon QSO-VLOG Net. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, and I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. We're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days, so when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for KC9VKV along with today's date, 6/18/21, and that will take you directly to this recording. Now, if you go to YouTube and just do a call letter search for KC9VKV, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG Net page, where we're running about 1,700 recorded QSO-VLOGs. And that gives you an opportunity to search out a bunch of different audio and different people's transmitters and audio sounds, and see how yours does. And maybe you might like somebody else's sound a little bit, and might want to crank in some of this or some of that to maybe pull your signal around towards theirs. It's all there, about 1,700 recorded QSO-VLOG programs. So anyway, let's get on with it. If you have a radio that you want to check out, give me a shout.
Get on with it. If you have a radio that you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilowatt November 4, Japan, Echo.
The Echo station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign, please.
Echo station, come back slowly phonetically with your call sign, please.
Kilowatt November 4, Japan, Echo.
Japan Echo, Roger, and what's the name there?
Japan Echo, Roger, and what's the name there?
My name is George. I'm located in a little hole in the wall.
Roger. Give me your location one more time. I was just running through my SDRs trying to find a better signal, but repeat your location again, George.
SDRs trying to find a better signal, but repeat your location again, George.
Bravo Alpha, Sierra, Echo, Tango, Bassett, Virginia, over.
Roger, sir. And what radio are you running today, George?
Roger, sir. And what radio are you running today, George?
Well, only one I got is the old ICOM 706 Mark II. ICOM 706 Mark II. Only 100 watts. locked on a piece of wire, over.
Roger, Roger. Mark, well, gosh, if you'd be interested in a setup procedure, it starts with you engaging your compressor at a 3. You get that compressor on and at a 3 if you're interested in our setup procedure, Roger.
Compressor on and at a 3 if you're interested in our setup procedure, Roger.
Yeah, Roger, Roger.
George, you're about 2 S units, above my noise. Gosh, if you want to crank in that compressor on at a 3, we can move on to the next step of the setup, which is going to your ALC meter with mic gain in hand. And as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust your mic gain until your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3, Roger.
To 2/3, Roger.
Stand by.
Roger, George, and I can give this to you in notes if you'd rather have notes and do it at your convenience at a later time.
Notes and do it at your convenience at a later time.
Roger, okay, let me give you notes then, and then you can jot them down, and as you find things in your book and how to get there, you can crank these figures in. First thing is to engage your compressor, or processor, whichever your manufacturer calls it, compressor or processor, same thing, and turn it on and put it on a 3 input level. We only want about a third of the processor, so about a number 3 on the compressor input level should do it. Once you get that, note 2, move to your ALC meter with mic gain in hand, and as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust your ALC meter to where it's reading mid-scale to 2/3 by way of mic gain manipulation. So just use that mic gain and turn it to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3, Roger.
To where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3, Roger.
Yeah, Roger, Roger.
And George, I don't have a good enough copy on you to really talk about EQ. Maybe next Friday we'll have a little bit better conditions, and maybe we could get together next Friday and do our EQ, check it out and see what we need there. Roger, Roger?
Our EQ, check it out and see what we need there. Roger, Roger?
Yeah, Roger, Roger. Well, I appreciate your time. I'll let you go to somebody else. Like I said, I'm not on this radio.
Hello.
Roger, Roger, George. Okay, well, hopefully the creeks won't rise, and so give me a shout next Friday, and we'll see what your situation is and see what we need to do with your EQ. This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. We record now live till 5, and so if you have a radio that you want to check out, give me a shout.
And so if you have a radio that you want to check out, give me a shout.
November 1, London, Quebec.
November 1 station, come back slowly with your call sign phonetically, please, sir.
Come back slowly with your call sign phonetically, please, sir.
QSL, this is November 1, London, Quebec, and 1LQ.
Roger, Roger, LQ, and what's the name there?
Roger, Roger, LQ, and what's the name there?
Name is Dave, December Able Victory Echo. We're located near Boston, Mass. Over.
Roger, Roger, and what radio are you running today, Dave?
Roger, Roger, and what radio are you running today, Dave?
We are running an unusual rig. It is an RGO-ONE, an RGO-1 from Bulgaria.
and we've had it about a year. I have never heard it, so I'm curious to see if I could just get a recording from you of what the audio sounds like. Over.
Yes, sir. I've got you on the Milford SDR, Milford PA SDR, and it looks to be about 7 dB over the Milford noise level. And tell me about 10 seconds on your antenna system. Let me look at your audio.
Tell me about 10 seconds on your antenna system. Let me look at your audio.
Okay, well, the antenna here is a Carolina Wyndham at 60 feet, and that's the antenna that we use on all the bands that we operate.
Dave might have lost you there, buddy. Come back again.
I discovered
Dave might have lost you there, buddy. Come back again.
I have to take a rain check on this and work on that. Over.
I'm sorry, we doubled there. I was just saying we lost you, and I was hoping that we would find you. You have technical issues with the radio?
I was hoping that we would find you. You have technical issues with the radio?
Yeah, I have a patch cord here going from an outboard processor into the rig, and it's causing hum, and I got to look into that. What's going on? It's just started in the last few minutes. Okay?
Yes, sir, Dave. Well, as you were transmitting, I was looking at your audio, and it looked to be about 3 dB dynamic range, which is exactly where it should be. You might contemplate maybe kicking in a little more top-end EQ for articulation. If you have onboard equalization, I would say maybe 2 clicks more treble EQ push from wherever you are. Roger, Roger?
More treble EQ push from wherever you are. Roger, Roger?
Well, that's great. Thank you very much. It's nice to know that the transmitted bandwidth is reasonable. And I seem to be in good shape right now. But I'm going to switch in an onboard with an external processor that I have here. And will you make it
Dave, you have faded into my noise level. Yeah, propagation has shifted and you have faded into my noise level. But if you would like to hear your recording, we have some pretty good recording in the early part of this QSO. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by today's date, 6/18/21, that will take you directly to this recording, and you'll be able to hear your radio. So 73, Dave, and we'll catch you maybe next week when we have better conditions. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
I heard somebody back in there, sir. Try it again slowly, phonetically.
I heard somebody back in there, sir. Try it again slowly, phonetically.
There was a tango towards the end of your call sign, sir. I copied that, but you are right at my noise level, but maybe conditions might be improving here in a moment. Try one more time with the call sign. Let me see if we can work that out.
Try one more time with the call sign. Let me see if we can work that out. November 8 Tango Alpha Whiskey.
I copy November 8 Tango Alpha Whiskey, Roger.
November 8 Tango Alpha Whiskey, Roger. Roger, Roger.
Alrighty, and what's the name there, sir?
Alrighty, and what's the name there, sir?
name is Ron, calling from Michigan, just about 20 miles north of Detroit.
Roger, Ron, and what radio are you running today, sir?
Roger, Ron, and what radio are you running today, sir?
I'm using a QSO-991A, very much 100 watts, and I'm using a homemade end-set antenna that's elevated on the top of my...
Roger, Dave. Well, I just went around my SDRs. I do not have a copy on any of the SDRs except Milford, and it looks to be that you're about 6 dB over the Milford noise level at the moment, sir. And if you would be interested in a setup procedure, it starts with the engaging your compressor at a 3. It's a token amount, but it does exactly what we needed to do to wind up with a 3 dB dynamic range at the end. Roger?
To wind up with a 3 dB dynamic range at the end. Roger?
I think so, Roger.
Alrighty, so we have our compressor on and at a 3. Roger?
Alrighty, so we have our compressor on and at a 3. Roger?
Well, I'm talking I'm barefoot here. This is NTAW calling barefoot outside, talking portable on my end-fed antenna.
You're talking, this is N8 TAW portable, Roger?
You're talking, this is N8 TAW portable, Roger?
Roger, Roger, at 100 watts.
Alrighty, I'm copying you again on the Milford PA at, looks to be about 7 dB over their noise level, 7 clicks over the noise level, Roger?
7 dB over their noise level, 7 clicks over the noise level, Roger?
Okay, very good. I'll try something else. 73 gears, this is NATAW lighting here.
Roger, Ron, and looking at your audio, again, I've got a lot of noise, so I can't really tell, but it seems like your limiter is stonewalling right at 0 level. There's very little punch through, so that indicates that that's a nice limiter in that radio. And since you are some of the peaks that I was observing were consistent, I would say that you're probably at that 3 dB dynamic range area right now. Though, when I get like only say 2 dB above noise level, it's hard to see clearly what's going on the modulation. So maybe next week we'll have a little bit better situation propagation-wise. So 73 for now. Have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Well, looks like malicious interference. Gee. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Kilo Bravo 2, Delta Mike Delta.
Delta Mike Delta, give me the call sign again slowly, phonetically, please.
Delta Mike Delta, give me the call sign again slowly, phonetically, please. Certainly, it's Kilowatt Bravo 2, Delta Mike Delta, Kilo Bravo 2, Denmark, Mexico, Denmark. Over.
Roger that, and let's see, what's the name there, sir?
Roger that, and let's see, what's the name there, sir? My name is Rich, Romeo India Charlie Hotel. Rich is the name. QSL?
Roger, Rich, and whereabouts are you located, sir?
Roger, Rich, and whereabouts are you located, sir? I'm located about 50 miles west of the city of Philadelphia. Over.
Roger, Rich, and the radio you're running today?
Roger, Rich, and the radio you're running today? It's the IC7300.
Alrighty, Rich. Sounds like you might be hitting your ALC a little hard. We have a setup procedure for that radio, and it's a generic setup procedure, but that radio responds very good to it. It starts with your compressor being engaged at a 3. It's a token amount, and you'll never hear that processing going on since it's only at a 3, but it is part of our setup procedure to get to a 3 dB dynamic range. So if you're interested in our setup procedure, it begins with a compressor engaged at a 3.
In our setup procedure, it begins with a compressor engaged at a 3. Okay, normally I run the compression at 5, but now I've reset it to 3. Over.
Roger, you'll never hear it at 3. At 5, you you can hear it work. So now that you're at 3, what I want you to do now is go to your AOC meter with mic gain in hand. And while you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, so you can get that AOC meter to indicate what's happening, I want you to adjust your mic gain until your AOC meter is reading mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on the AOC meter by way of mic gain control. Roger?
Thirds on the AOC meter by way of mic gain control. Roger. Okay, let's see. 2/3, 2/3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 2/3, 2/3, 2/3, 1, 2, 3. So let me, we're going to drop that slightly. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like now at 9% I'm reading 2/3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that looks about right. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. Now, what mic are you running? Are you running the stock hand mic?
Roger, Roger. Now, what mic are you running? Are you running the stock hand mic? Stock hand mic. It's just been moved into the shell of an old static 10D, but yes, it is still the stock microphone element. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. Well, in its original form, the best way to work it would have been across, never directly into it, but pull it to the side of your mouth and work across it. That way, you don't pick up a lot of mouth noises and plosives and stuff like that. That's the only drawback to the hand mic in its original form, was that you could not work it directly because of transients and stuff. But if you did pull it to the corner of your mouth and work across it, it was just absolutely perfect.
The corner of your mouth, work across it, it was just absolutely perfect. Okay, let's try that. And talking across the microphone now. Still looking at 2/3, 2/3, 2/3. 2/3 with the mic gain at 9%. Over.
Yes, sir. Now, that sounds a whole lot better than when we started. You were really pushing your ALC when we started. And if you would like to hear your audio from start to finish there, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by today's date, 6/18/21, that will take you directly to this recording. Roger?
Oh, wonderful. Well, my wife has a computer. Maybe I'll give that a try. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir, Rich. My pleasure, sir. And you have a good day. EQ sounds good. I wouldn't change. Well, you know, you could always do maybe +1 treble EQ boost from where you are. +1 treble EQ boost from where you are. And I'll let you do that at your leisure. Roger?
From where you are, and I'll let you do that at your leisure. Roger? Well, that's right now I'm running the EQ with the bass all the way off and the treble all the way advanced. So unfortunately, probably because of my flat voice, I don't have anything left in that in the high range. Over.
Roger. Yeah, I can notice that it was attacking a mid-range pretty hard. Why don't you try this? Maybe crank in, let's see, 3 dB boost from where you are on your bass. Let's just try to crank in a little bass and see what that does as far as your processing. +3 bass boost from where you are, and let's listen to it.
Bass boost from where you are, and let's listen to it. Well, that involves me going into the menu, and quite frankly, I haven't been in that menu in a while, so that's something I'll probably do at a later date, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. At your convenience. And, I'd make a note of that. That might help you just a little bit more on the bottom end with a little fuller audio range. Sometimes if we get really mid-range, we are actually limiting ourselves because you have this power that's just in the mid-range, and, the voice extends at least radio-wise, we want to make sure that we try to get it to roll off after 300 cycles and not before that, because it really thins out the audio. But anyway, nice talking to you there, and gosh, if you get a chance, join us next Friday, Roger.
Talking to you there, and gosh, if you get a chance, join us next Friday, Roger. Okay, very good. Well, it was interesting and informative. Very nice. Nice to see you. And thanks for your help. KC9, Victor Kilo Victor, KB2 DMD signed. Have a good day.
Roger, you too, Rich, 73, sir. This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. We are recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. Number 4, Victor Yankee.
There's a Victor somebody out there. Victor, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign, please.
Victor, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign, please. This is November 4, Victor Yankee.
I copy November 4, Victor Yankee, is that it?
Copy November 4, Victor Yankee, is that it? Hey, that's all right. We're from Alabama. About 75 miles north of Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
Yeah, I copy down in Florida, and what's the name there?
Yeah, I copy down in Florida, and what's the name there? We're in Alabama, north of Florida, about 35 miles north of Fort Walton Beach. Alabama. The name is Wayne, Whiskey Alpha, Yankee, November Echo, Dad.
Okay, Wayne, you say you're in Alabama, is that a Roger?
Okay, Wayne, you say you're in Alabama, is that a Roger? That's a Roger. Roll call called Alabama. City of Opportunity.
Roger, Wayne, and what radio are you running today, sir?
Roger, Wayne, and what radio are you running today, sir? We're running an old-timer. It's ICOM IC720A with the stop microphone. Just wanted to see if it's doing anything. I had the desk mic, SM5 on it, and was having problems with that. The cable's kind of chewed up on it, or the wiring kind of chewed up on it. So we put the stock hand mic back on. Wanted to see if it was doing anything.
Roger, Wayne. Well, you're very mid-rangey, and you're hitting your ALC pretty hard. If you would be interested in our setup procedure, we'll get you nice and loud, but very clean. It starts with the compressor being engaged at a 3. It's a token amount, but it does exactly what we need it to do. You'll never hear it operating on the air at a 3, but we just need that to wind up with a 3 dB dynamic range. Roger?
Need that to wind up with a 3 dB dynamic range, right? Okay, compressor's on.
All right, Wayne, I'm assuming you said compressor's on. I just lost my Milford PA SDR, so let me let me bring that back. Hang on just a moment here. This won't take, hopefully, but a second. Sounds like famous last words, but I'm doing pretty good right now. It's coming back up. All right, so I've got my Milford PA back up. So we get that compressor engaged at a 3, on and engaged at a 3. Is that a Roger, Wayne?
Engaged at a 3. Is that a Roger, Wayne? Well, about a 3. Where's a 3 out here? All I got is minimum to maximum, but my RF power and then that compressor on.
All right, Wayne, what we're looking for is about a third of the capabilities of that compressor. So it would be, if you want to make a clock out of it, it would be like about 10:30, 10 o'clock. Between 10 and 11 o'clock would be the input level. If we're looking at something that doesn't have any nomenclature on it there, we only want about a third of the capabilities of the compressor. Roger?
Of the capabilities of the compressor, Roger. I'll be in my power switch about all I got.
All right, so like I say, do you have a rotary selector as far as your volume of input volume to your compressor? Is that a rotary or what is it?
Volume to your compressor, is it a rotary or what is it? It's rotary. Put it down
All right, so what we want is the token amount. So just cranking in, turn it on, and just barely adjust that input level. Roger, just a little bit hotter than where you first start. Roger?
Than where you first start. Roger?
Okay, let's run this one down. Does that make any difference to it?
Well, let's go with that. Let's say you hit the jackpot right there, and I'll tell you later what we need to do if that's not right. All right, so once you get your compressor engaged and on, move to your ALC meter with mic gain in hand, and as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust your mic gain control until your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC meter by way of mic gain manipulation.
It's on the ALC meter by way of mic gain manipulation.
Okay, so I'm just about there. About 2/3.
Alrighty, tell me, give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, Wayne.
Give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, Wayne.
As a resident time for 40 meters, just about 3 resident at this frequency right here, guys.
All right, now the mic that you're using is a what?
All right, now the mic that you're using is a what?
It's just a stock hand mic. I can't even find a number on it.
All right, it's pretty mid-rangey. It's very mid-rangey. We could broaden that out if you would like just a little bit, if you know where your EQ page is on that radio. Can you get to your EQ on that radio?
Radio. Can you get to your EQ on that radio?
I didn't catch all of it. Say that again?
Yes, sir. Talking about the frequency response of your microphone seems to be extremely mid-rangey, and what we might do if you knew where your equalization was for the radio is we might be able to crank in a little bottom-end EQ to kind of flatten that mic up instead of it being so mid-rangey. Roger?
Flatten that mic up instead of it being so mid-rangey. Roger?
I can't do nothing about that. This radio's about 35 years old. I don't think we're going to have any settings on it.
All right. You might check, though, because, gosh, equalization's been around for a long time. Failing that, is that a hand mic or a desk mic?
Is that a hand mic or a desk mic?
This one's a hand mic, man.
Roger, Roger. And you're working right into it, actually touching your lips right into it, Roger?
Right into it?
40 years old, so that's
actually touching your lips right into it, Roger?
pretty close.
Roger. Well, just remember, the closer you work that microphone, the more bass buildup you're going to get, and you need bass. That mic is extremely mid-rangey, and so you want more bass. So I would work it right up into it, and I would double-check back to my ALC to be sure that my level is still mid-range to 2/3 by working it so close. Roger, Roger. But working that closer is going to help you a little fuller as far as the bottom end is concerned, audio-wise.
A little fuller as far as the bottom end is concerned, audio-wise.
Like the other fellow just said there, jumped in. Yeah, I agree with him. That's about what this radio's going to do.
That radio is 40 years old. He sounds perfect, but he's too quick.
Sir, this is a controlled network. This is a controlled network. Appreciate it if you would stand by, please.
Radio.
Appreciate it if you would stand by, please.
And so Wayne, gosh, buddy, like I say, it did sound very mid-rangey to me. Now I'm listening, on a very good audio system, and I can hear from 100 cycles on up. And it did sound a little upper mids to me, but it's again, if that's what you've got, and you might not have another microphone that you could try, the EQ curve would be not unintelligible. It is very, very intelligible. It's just a little upper mid-range raspy. Roger?
Very intelligible. It's just a little upper mid-range raspy. Roger? Yeah, that's correct, but that radio was designed in the late 70s. It's a 2.3 bandwidth. It's supposed to have mid-range punch. The radio is operating as per design. It don't get much better than that. In fact, as far as the
Sir, this is a controlled network. This is a controlled network. This is the QSO-VLOG net. I appreciate your assistance, but I'm not called on you yet, sir. So if you would, please.
I'm not called on you yet, sir, so if you would, please. Yeah, the call here is Whiskey Quebec 4 X-ray. I'm very familiar with that radio. My Elma had that radio. In fact, that's one of the first radios I ever operated on ham radio. I'm very familiar with the 720. This 720 sounds perfect.
In your ear, sir, and your radio sounds a little upper mids also, sir. I mean, you know, today is, where we can have fairly good fidelity in our radio transmissions. We don't have to sound like Sky King trying to talk to Mars, you know. We can have it very convenient and very nice audio for QSO. It doesn't have to sound like two-way communications, you know. It can sound a lot nicer than that. You might think about that. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. We were just in QSO with Wayne down in Alabama, who's running a 720A. And Wayne, you have a good day, sir, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday. And also, we are recording now, live till 5, so if you want to hear your radio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, followed by today's date, 6/18/21, that will take you to this recording. So it's KC9VKV followed by today's date, 6/18/21. And that will take you to this recording. Now, if you just do a call letter search for KC9VKV, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, where we're now running about 1,700 recorded QSO-VLOGs. 73, Wayne. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
There was a Sierra Sierra station, come back slowly with your call sign phonetically.
Sierra station, come back slowly with your call sign phonetically.
It's Kilo Tango 4, Charlie Sierra. Roger?
Roger, Charlie Sierra. This is KC9VKV. What's the name there?
Charlie Sierra. This is KC9VKV. What's the name there?
The name here is Charles. I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Charles in Knoxville, Tennessee, Roger. And Charles, what radio are you running today, sir?
In Knoxville, Tennessee, Roger. And Charles, what radio are you running today, sir?
Yes, sir. I am, like many others, and running the ICOM IP7300.
Roger, Charles, on the 7300, sir, that's just an absolutely fabulous radio. And if you'd be interested in our setup procedure, it starts with you engaging that compressor at a 3. It's a token amount, but it does what we need to do to wind up in the end with a 3 dB dynamic range and an average percent of peak modulation between 80 and 85%, as opposed to a stock unprocessed modulation of 30%. So again, on that 7300, engage the compressor at a 3. Roger?
7300, engage the compressor at a 3. Roger?
Roger. The compressor is at a 3, and have had it set up.
Roger, Roger. Okay, so we're now at a 3 on the compressor, and compressor's engaged. Let's move to the ALC meter with the mic gain in hand. And as you speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, I want you to adjust the mic gain control until your ALC meter is reading mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC meter by way of mic gain manipulation.
Roger. I am speaking now. My gain is currently set at 30%, and I am peaking up at around 2/3, a little over half, somewhere near not quite 3/4. Roger.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely perfect. Now, what mic are you using on that radio?
Yes, sir. Absolutely perfect. Now, what mic
All right. I would go to EQ, your EQ page, if you can know where that is, and I would crank in 2 clicks more treble EQ boost from where you are. 2 clicks treble EQ boost from where you are. Roger. 2
clicks treble EQ boost from where you are. Roger.
Okay. So you're transmit treble boosted 2 points from where I am. Is that correct? Because I'm at +3 now.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. And you said a SM58, is that Roger?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. And you said a SM58, is that Roger?
Yeah, I would take that on up to 2 clicks boost from where you are, which will max you out +5 on EQ boost, Roger.
Which will max you out +5 on EQ boost, Roger.
Roger. I have moved it up to a +5 setting on the transmit treble settings, Roger.
Roger. Now the bottom end of the base is flat. Is that a Roger?
Now the bottom end of the base is flat. Is that a Roger?
Yeah, I'm at a -2 there.
I would bring that up to 0. I would bring that up to flat. And let me hear you.
I would bring that up to flat. And let me hear you.
Okay, it's set at a -2 now, and I'm clicking it up to 0. It's now set at a 0.
Alrighty, and I want you to give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system.
I want you to give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system.
Yeah, it's Multimax 100 infed. It's the high end of it's only about 23 feet, going down to about 8 feet. But is been pretty efficient. Don't have a lot of SWR problems. But it's not ideal, but it's done okay.
Roger. I just moved over to my local antenna. You're about 10 to 12 over on my local antenna, so I have a much better signal on my local antenna, and my local radio is a lot flatter than the SDRs. SDRs tend to roll out at about 300 cycles on the low side. My receivers get down to 100 cycles, and so you're looking now that probably you're rolling at about 200, 150 cycles, so you have a lot fuller bottom end now. Roger?
Roger. Yeah, this is a great service. That's the first time I've heard this net, so I really appreciate the work you're doing here. It's terrific.
Roger, and your audio dynamic range looks to be right on target, 3 dB. That's a combination of that 3 dB on the 3-run operational input level of the compressor, and the mic gain manipulation to get the AOC up to mid-range to 2/3. That gives you a 3 dB dynamic range. And unlike unprocessed audio, which is 10 dB and average 30% modulation, you're now at 3 dB and an average 80 to 85% modulation, Roger.
Yeah, I guess I need to go back. I am running a UR6QW equalizer. It's not, the setup's not, it's reasonable. I have to roll off the bottom end, a little mid-range, some highs in there. But I did not mention that on the front end of this. So I am running that compressor, that 8-band EQ.
Roger, now you are running the 7300, is that a Roger? I mean, well, I'm going by your sound, so you could be running Bob Wire. It doesn't matter to me. It's just the way that it sounds, and it sounds very nice to me, the way you've got it set now, Roger.
Okay, then I'm going to take pictures of all the settings and leave them right where they are. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And if you want to hear your radio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, along with today's date, 6/18/21, that will take you to this recording, and you can hear our setup procedure from beginning to end and see what your radio sounds like. Roger?
I will do that as soon as we finish here. Again, great service. Appreciate it very much, and thank you for the tweaking. 73, Kilo Tango 4, Charlie Sierra.
Roger, Charlie. Now, it's going to take us a couple of days to get it uploaded, so you can't actually go there right now. But, we just ask 48 hours. A lot of times we get it there a lot sooner than that. But for, just outside, we say 48 hours. Roger?
Roger. I will check in with it in a day or so.
Absolutely great, Charles. 73, sir, and thanks for dropping by. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio that you want to check out, give me a shout.
Give me a shout.
Yeah, and I've been around the horn a couple of times hearing nothing. We're running 4 internet SDR receivers covering New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Georgia, along with my local receiver. We're located near Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. So our SDR receivers give us a chance to move out in a geographic grid, trying to get the best signal possible from our 100-watt friends. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
I'm not copying anyone, so if anybody's transmitting, think about it. If you're transmitting and I'm not copying you, you are S1 to me. You're not only S1 to me, but you're S1 to 4 other geographically spaced out internet SDR receivers. So if you're S1 everywhere, you're not getting out. If you're running 100 watts in the eastern part of the United States and you're transmitting, trying to reach me, and I'm not hearing you on my signal or on any of the other internet SDR receivers, you might contemplate maybe a different antenna. And I might suggest to you a resonant half-wave dipole antenna. Very efficient, and I could almost guarantee you would be heard. You would not be an S1 everywhere. At some point, you're going to be heard fairly well. So again, think about your antenna system. Sometimes just a long wire through a tuner is not the most efficient way to go, because you're losing power in the antenna tuner trying to make the antenna look good to the radio. You're also losing efficiency because the antenna is not resonant at the frequency that you're trying to operate it on. So there's a lot of things that could be improved to increase the efficiency of that 100 watts that you're generating out of your radio. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
I'm copying a little trash off the sidebands. I'm not sure whether it's the upper side or the lower side, but we've been here for about an hour, and so somebody that goes 2 KC off or so and wants to communicate after the other station's been on for an hour, well, you pays your money and takes your chances, I guess. This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, and we are standing by if you have a radio you want to check out.
VKV, and we are standing by if you have a radio you want to check out.
And nothing hurts, so we're not. If there's no business to do, we're going to be signing off here in a couple of minutes. So if there's nobody to work with, we've got other things to do. So again, though, if you have a radio at the moment that you want to check out, give me a shout.
Though, if you have a radio at the moment that you want to check out, give me a shout.
Kilo Oscar forward. Foxtrot Charlie Oscar.
The Kilo Oscar 4 station, come back slowly, phonetically with your call sign, please.
Kilo Oscar forward. Foxtrot Charlie Oscar.
Foxtrot Charlie Oscar, Roger, Roger, and what's the name there, sir?
is Bob, located in Tennessee.
Roger, Bob, and what radio are you running today, sir?
I'm running a Yazoo XT1000 Mark 5.
Mark 5 with a Yazoo VAO 1000 amplifier.
Roger. Give me the radio model number again. I had to switch. It was on my local antenna, and you were kind of ebbing and flowing there, so I went over to the Milford SDR. I think I've got a better copy on you now, so give me your radio again, please.
I've got a better copy on you now, so give me your radio again, please.
Yeah, this is an older radio. It's a ST1000 MP area call Mark 5.
That's Sam Texas 1000 Mary. Is that a Roger?
Sam Texas 1000 Mary. Is that a Roger?
Roger.
All right, Bob. And how old is that radio?
All right, Bob. And how old is that radio?
I have a double bazooka. Feet in the air.
Roger, Mark. Just curious about does that radio have a compressor? If it does, if you'd be interested in our setup procedure, it starts with the compressor processor engaged at a 3 token amount, but it does exactly what we need it to do. So I'm not sure exactly the age of that radio that you're talking with, but if it's got a compressor and you'd be interested in our setup procedure, go ahead and turn it on and adjust it for a 3.
Setup procedure, go ahead and turn it on and adjust it for a 3.
I did not rate any of that transmission. I do have a bucket truck that's supposed to come, well, it'll probably be next week now, and I'm going to adjust the antenna a little too close to the tower and get it away from the situation.
Roger. So I'm copying that you have difficulty in copying my transmission. Is that a Roger?
Copying that you have difficulty in copying my transmission. Is that a Roger?
Roger.
All right. Well, Bob, maybe we could make it next Friday. We're doing about KW here. I can show you what it would be like with it off. There we go. That's down to 100 watts right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's back to a KW, and that's about all we can do at the moment, Roger.
That's back to a KW, and that's about all we can do at the moment, Roger.
What is your call sign?
Call sign here is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Name is Jim Juliet India Mike, and we're located just across from Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger.
We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger.
The band is fading on us. I did not read it, and I'll let you go. Send the praise to you. KO4 FCO, big clear.
Roger, Bob. 73 down there in Tennessee. Usually we do go south, but not often. So anyway, 73, Bob. You have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
KC9VKV.
Station calling, try again, please.
Station calling, try again, please.
K9VKV, Kilowatt 9 Tango Lima.
Kilowatt 9 Tango Lima, this is KC9VKV. What's the name there?
Tango Lima, this is KC9VKV. What's the name there?
K9TL, this is KC9VKV.
K9TL, this is KC9VKV.
Hey, Jim, it's good to talk to you. K9TL here, and I am in Center Point, Indiana, and I'm just trying out an amplifier that I'm using for the very first time ever.
Roger, Roger, TL. And whereabouts, you say you're in Indiana?
Roger, Roger, TL. And whereabouts, you say you're in Indiana?
That is correct. And Center Point, which is near Brazil, which is near Terre Haute.
Roger that. And what's the name there?
Roger that. And what's the name there?
The handle here is Doug, Delta Oscar Uniform Golf. 68 years old, and I'm trying out an amplifier on my station. First time using an amplifier.
Well, congratulations and welcome to being heard. I mean, today you really need one to be heard because there's just so much noise and a lot of man-made noise, not necessarily like radio, but I mean, can openers today, generate all kinds of noise, and it's just amazing that, the band, if you were to probably listen 20 years ago, things would be just not anywhere near as crowded and convoluted as they are now. But so how much power are you running there, Doug?
So how much power are you running there, Doug?
Well, it's 600 watts and barefoot for just a second. So on and see what happens if I go barefoot for just a second. So on your return, I'll try that next time around.
Roger that. Well, gosh, do you have a standby on that amp?
Roger that. Well, gosh, do you have a standby on that amp?
Yes, I do. It's a solid-state amp. It's a Meritron ALS 600, and I'm going to go barefoot right now. Hang on. Okay, now this is barefoot, and then I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay, do me one more now. Come up, be no power, and then give me a little audio, and then come up on the power. And make that transition as quick as you can so I can see an A-B difference, Roger.
As quick as you can so I can see an A-B difference, Roger.
Okay, now this is with full power, and now it's on no power. This is no power. This is full power, okay?
Roger, Roger. Now I'm looking at your audio on an S meter, on a modulation meter, a VU meter coming off the audio. And the audio difference is 3 dB. You're plus 3, you're 0 level at max power. And then when you reduce power, you're at minus 3 dB. From the calibrated 0 level on the peaks of your voice. So there's a 3 dB difference to me, audio-wise, between those power and no power. Roger? Yeah, and Doug, I just lost my Milford PA SDR and just brought it back up, so I missed your last transmission, but I do have Milford back up, so if you would repeat, please.
Back up, so if you would repeat, please.
Sure, that's no problem. I said I was surprised that you were able to hear me at all on just 100 watts, because I've put up with that for all the 30 years that I've been a ham.
Yes, sir. I know what you mean there. But like I say, you did drop 3 dB. Now, I would say that my noise level is probably about 5 dB, 4 dB. So you're approaching my noise level when you drop down. And again, I can show you what the difference would be. Well, I can't really because this is a KW, but this is without power. And I should probably be... well, I don't know what your output is. Let me go back to power. Back to power. And what is your output max?
And what is your output max?
My max output power is 600 watts. 600 watts.
Oh, roger that. Well, that's a nice kick. That is a good kick there. And like I say, I would run that often. It just helps, particularly when you're downriver, and 600 miles, something like that. You may have conditions that ebb and flow, and that 600 watts will help you minimize the discrepancies. Roger.
Minimize the discrepancies, Roger.
Yes, I understand completely. I'm certainly thankful that I've had the opportunity now.
Frequency is in use. Frequency is in use.
Yes,
frequency is in use. Frequency is in use.
Incredible blessing. One of the other challenges I face is that I'm limited to a vertical antenna due to route constraints where I live, and so that doesn't help anything either.
Roger, on the vertical. Now, just out of curiosity, do you know what your real standing wave is on that vertical? I'm not talking about after the antenna tuner, but without the antenna tuner, what would your SWR reading be?
What would your SWR reading be?
Right now, it's about 1 to 1 where I am for in this portion of the band. It's not adjusted exactly correctly. I got it used and erected it before I tested it, and so I should be about 1 to 1 right now. My bandwidth is extremely limited. I can go from 7.14 to 7.23 before I hit 2 to 1.
Roger that. But you are running through an antenna tuner even as we speak at the moment, Roger.
But you are running through an antenna tuner even as we speak at the moment, Roger.
No, I am not running through a tuner at the present time.
Roger that. Well, gosh, I'm sorry that you're restricted to a vertical antenna. It's, a number 22 gauge wire sometimes works wonders as far as being able to work and not be seen if it's an HOA consideration, Roger.
Be seen if it's an HOA consideration, Roger.
Yeah, that's not really the issue. Part of the issue is that I'm a preacher, and so I have to move frequently, and so I don't get to move a tower.
Roger. Now, you don't have to necessarily have a tower, but sometimes you can come off the edge of the fascia board and move up to 2 trees, one on either side, to get a dipole in. I firmly recommend resonant dipole antennas as being tremendously efficient. And plus the fact, if you've got your vertical, then you have an AV comparison. There's nothing better than being on the right antenna at the right time. So you've got your vertical. Maybe you could fairly simplistically get a resonant dipole antenna up and be able to see the difference between the two. Roger.
And be able to see the difference between the two. Roger.
Yes, I understand completely. The vertical that I'm working off of right now is an AV680, and I'm going to switch in just a second to a dipole that I have and see if it does any good. So give me just a second. Mo's fault, but it's not exactly math.
Okay, you're on the second antenna now. That last transmission was on the second antenna. Is that a Roger?
Second antenna now. That last transmission was on the second antenna. Is that a Roger?
Right now, I'm on vertical. I switched over to the dipole for a second to put the amplifier in the group mode because I have the 2-to-1 bandwidth on that particular dipole since I don't have the antenna.
Roger, you were down towards my noise level, so I didn't copy a bunch of that. But I would be interested if you have a second antenna. Gosh, if you could run, well, I don't know. Do you have a problem running your amp with the two antennas? Is there a problem there?
The two antennas. Is there a problem there?
Yes. The dipole is not cut for the same width as a band section as the vertical. It only works from 7.0 up to 7.15. We're at 7.18. When I get above 7.15, the SWR goes above. The SWR goes above 7 goes above 2-to-1.
Roger there, Doug. And you're, well, I'll tell you the way I tune a dipole antenna. I make SWR adjustments on the ground side, on the ground radio of the dipole only. Only on the ground side of the dipole, on the end of the ground side of the dipole for SWR, and then I bring it back onto frequency on the high side of the dipole end. So you go back and forth, SWR on the ground side, and bring it back onto your desired frequency on the high side. You go back and forth like that until you get your SWR down to like a 0.05 or something really low where you can just barely see your meter move in reflected. Roger?
Just barely see your meter move in reflected. Roger?
Yes, I understand. This is the dipole I'm using is an MFJ off-center fed dipole, and I didn't do any adjustments on it because it's cut for 40 meters, but apparently it's just a little bit too short, I think it is. Maybe I don't remember.
Roger. Now, Doug, the element, the wire that you use for the dipole, is it insulated or just multi-core copper or something like that?
Multi-core copper or something like that.
Stranded copper.
Yes, sir. Okay, there's a thing called a split bolt. I don't know if you know what a split bolt is, but you can get one at Home Depot. Very small little jobbers if you want them, all different sizes. But what that does is you can take a piece of wire, like about 6 inches to a foot of wire, and slip it up between your element and inside that split bolt, tighten that split bolt, and you effectively have increased your loading and your length of that element. So it's you can see what you need to do there. If your SWR goes up, you can trim that. I have it hanging vertically on a lot of mine. I use it as a trick tuner, so I'm not constantly having to undo the insulator end of it and all that stuff. I just take a piece of wire and hang it off the end through a split bolt. And if that's what it takes, fine. Then if it's not, then I have to, start, coming up on the insulator and coming closer if we need less wire. Just depends. But split bolt operation can save a lot of work on the end there, Roger.
Split bolt operation can save a lot of work on the end there, Roger.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I hadn't thought of that, so I'll have to give that a try.
Yes, sir. It works really great. Obviously, the length depends on the frequency, and the higher the frequency, the less length that you may need. I found for 40 meters, I start with about a foot, and then I can just start clumping it, cutting it off, usually in 2-inch pieces, depending on how far it's off to begin with. The closer I get, the smaller the nibble I take. Roger.
The closer I get, the smaller the nibble I take. Roger.
Yes, I understand. Now, if it happens to be that my antenna is a little bit too long, then I can just double back part of it at the insulator and shorten it that way, right?
Yes, absolutely. Never cut anything off. Just bend it back on itself. Yeah, never cut anything off, because then you're going to, may need some later on. So it's just as effective to bend it back on itself. Matter of fact, that really helps. If you've ever seen those balls on vertical antennas, like on cars and stuff like that, those little balls act as end-of-line signals. So that signal that is coming through knows that mass right at the end is the end. That's it. And it helps to define the resonance of the item. So bending back on itself on a dipole really helps to define the end of the dipole, amongst other things.
To define the end of the dipole, amongst other things.
Okay, that sounds very good. Because of the fact that I can only reach the proper SWR at between 7 and 7.15, does that mean it's too long or too short? I can't remember.
Roger. Well, the way you can do that, if you have an antenna tuner, you can use that, or you can go low power and use your radio and watch your SWR. You calibrate, maybe you're down at 5 watts or so. This is a way to do it. 5 watts or so, you've got your SWR bridge in there, you're in reflected, and you just use your VFO and run the VFO one way or the other, looking at your SWR for minimum, and that way you'll pinpoint where your minimum SWR is. Roger?
Yeah, you'll pinpoint where your minimum SWR is. Roger?
Okay, I understand. Yeah, I can do that. Yes, that'll work. That sounds very good. Well, Jim, I can't tell you how much I've appreciated the help that you have given me. Just your little advice about that split bolt will make things incredibly easier.
Roger. Home Depot, they've got a large selection. You can get them from as big as your fist down to your little finger. And, obviously something like that would be the smaller one that's going to do the job, and they're very, very cheap. Usually the smaller ones are like 2 for $4 or some $3.98 or something like that. Now the bigger ones, you start paying a price. I use some big ones to take all my grounds. The whole thing about a ground system is that they all be grounded at a central point. So I use RG8 as my choice of ground cable, because to RF it looks like a 1-inch solid copper pipe. So I use RG8, and I come off my I have fittings that go on the end of the RG8 that have ground lugs on them, and so I can come off my equipment and come to this central point, and they all run into a very large split bolt, and they're all grounded at the same place. And I think it beats the heck out of that long copper pipe that they talk about putting on the back side of your desk or table or whatever, because if that sucker gets too long, you're going to start talking about portions of wavelengths, whereas you want your ground to all be at a central point, and a split bolt does that. Roger?
Point, and the split bolt does that. Roger?
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand what you're saying about that. So, well, that sounds very good. I really appreciate the chance that I've had to talk to you, and I'm going to expect that there may be 1 or 2 others that might like to have a chance to visit with you about their radios. And Jim, I hope that you have an incredible afternoon. By the way, I thought that you were near Louisville, but you're in Indiana. What town in Indiana again?
We're in New Albany, which is directly across from Louisville. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger.
We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger.
Yes, okay, that sounds good. I've been through New Albany a number of times. My in-laws, brother-in-law and sister-in-law, lived in Louisville, so we went through New Albany a number of times. And they lived in the south end of the county, and so we got to go through that part often.
Roger, Doug. And what radio are you running, sir?
Roger, Doug. And what radio are you running, sir?
I'm running an ICOM 7300.
Roger, 7300. We have a tune-up procedure for that. You look really close, but we start with that setup with a compressor engaged at a 3, a token amount, but it begins the process. A 3 on the compressor, and then move to our ALC with mic gain in hand, and as we speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, we adjust the mic gain until the ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. And once you do that, you'll be running about 3 dB dynamic range.
Once you do that, you'll be running about 3 dB dynamic range.
Okay, I appreciate your kindness and all of your information. Thank you. And KC9VKV, K9TL, clear on this end.
Roger, Doug, 73, sir. You have a great afternoon, a beautiful weekend. And we got about 3 minutes left, so maybe we can get... and Doug, we have been recording this, so if you want to hear your radio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV along with today's date, 6/18/21, that will take you directly to this recording. And so we have about 2 minutes or 3 minutes left. If you have a radio you want to get checked out, give me a shout.
2 minutes left. If you have a radio you want checked out, give me a shout. Kilo Juliet 8 Hotel.
There's a Kilo Juliet something station. Come back slowly phonetically with a call sign.
Juliet something station. Come back slowly phonetically with a call sign.
Was it kilowatt Delta Germany kilowatt radio?
Juliet 8 Hotel.
There was a Kilo Juliet station. Kilo Juliet station. Come back with your call sign slowly phonetically.
Juliet station. Come back with your call sign slowly phonetically.
Kilowatt Juliet 8 Hotel. Kilowatt Juliet 8 Hotel.
Kilowatt Juliet 8 Hotel. Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. What's the name there?
Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. What's the name there?
My name is Keith. Kilowatt Echo India Tango Hotel. Good afternoon. How's my audio today?
Gosh, Keith. Well, let's see. Let's find out where you are first. Where are you, sir, and what radio are you running?
Well, let's see. Let's find out where you are first. Where are you, sir, and what radio are you running?
I'm running an ICOM 7300. I have a 1200 watt solid state Maratron amp. The antenna is non-wire bend fed with a tuner, and my location is Oregon, Ohio, right next to Toledo, Ohio. QSO?
Roger, Keith. Well, you're looking good there. It looks like about a 3 dB dynamic range, which is what our setup procedure tries to get you to. But usually what we do is begin with the compressor engaged at a 3, compressor on and at a 3, and then move to ALC with mic gain in hand, and as we speak fairly rapidly, 100, 200, 300, adjust the mic gain until the ALC is reading mid-scale to 2/3. And with that setup, you are at a 3 dB dynamic range on the 7300, Roger?
At a 3 dB dynamic range on the 7300, Roger?
Roger, so I do look pretty compliant. QSO?
Repeat, please.
Repeat, please.
Do I look like I'm at 3 decibels on the audio?
Might be a little fatter than that. And what happens is when you exceed 3 dB dynamic range and you start going so it's 2 dB and 1 dB, the words start to blur a little bit. And the whole idea is to be as crystal clear as you can so folks can understand as best as possible what you're saying. So sometimes you can be a little hot into your ALC and start moving that down to 2 dB, which begins to blur. Words have to have life. And I've found that 3 dB dynamic range is enough life to compromise as far as non-process and process. So what we do, we're shooting for a 3 dB dynamic range, starts with the compressor engaged at a 3, then to the ALC, and that's what you might want to check out is you might be hot into your ALC. So I would get my compressor on and at a 3, and then I would move to my ALC with my gain in hand, and I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and look at my ALC and adjust my mic gain to where my ALC was reading mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Gain to my ALC was reading mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Roger, Jim. I know it's time for you to go. I appreciate your help. I'll do that ALC adjustment, and maybe I'll talk to you again next week. So I guess you get out of here on time today. Thank you for doing the service to hams. It's not always easy to hear your own voice, and even if you do, most people don't like their own voice. So another ear is helpful. Again, and 7-3, by the way, your signal is good here near Toledo, Ohio. 7-3, thank you. DJ88, KC9VKV, thanks for the help.
Roger, Keith, 73 up that way, sir, and we appreciate you joining us, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday. In between time, if you want to hear your audio, we have been recording from 3:30 till now, and so if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, along with today's date, 6/18/21, that will take you to this recording, and so you can hear yourself, and it will give us a couple of days to get it uploaded. We usually get it uploaded sooner, but we do ask for 2 days just in case things start getting real busy. So 73, and you have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG net. We're wrapping up and returning this frequency to normal amateur radio use. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, clear.
Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, clear.
W4, RIT Mobile, North Carolina.
North Carolina Station, quickly, go ahead.
North Carolina Station, quickly, go ahead.
Yes, Roger. I was just now got in the truck and I heard your QSO going on there, and I was just wondering how the modulation sounded on this mobile. I had somebody tell me I had too much bass in it the other day. I didn't know whether you could even tell or not. Go ahead.
Give me just a little bit more. I'm copying on Milford, PA. Give me a little bit more. Tell me about your antenna system, and I'll see if I can find a better signal on my local antenna. Roger?
I'll see if I can find a better signal on my local antenna. Roger?
Yes. I'm on a Scorpion. Scorpion antenna, and then I've got module on it to tune it, and I'm running an ICOM 7100, and just with a regular stock mic on it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would leave it just like it is. Get the Gorilla Tape, taper down, sir. I think you're doing, for mobile, you're doing fine. Now, there's a lot of stuff that you can do on a bass that is very difficult or maybe not a good idea to do in a mobile. And one of those things is the compressor. You know, a base station can crank in a little compression to fatten the signal up. But you try that in a mobile, and you're going to be sucking up engine noise and all kinds of people yelling at you across from one car to another, and people scratching off, and 18-wheelers passing by. So I'd advise against any compression, added compression in a vehicle. But your audio is right, perfect. EQ-wise, I wouldn't change a thing, Roger.
Is right, perfect. EQ-wise, I wouldn't change a thing, Roger. Yes, Roger, on that. I appreciate it very, very much. You coming back to me. And I believe you did say you were in Toledo, Ohio.
No, we're in just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. And if you would come back slowly phonetically with your call sign and name, please.
And if you would come back slowly phonetically with your call sign and name, please. Yes, my name is Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, and my call sign is Whiskey 4 Romeo India Papa.
Romeo India Papa, Roger. And what's the radio?
Romeo India Papa, Roger. And what's the radio? Yes, it's an ICOM 7100. The ICOM 7100 with a stock mic. And also I have running a Scorpion 680 screwdriver antenna with a tune-matic module to tune the antenna with. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. And where are you located at the moment?
Roger, Roger. And where are you located at the moment? Yes, Roger. I'm in High Point, North Carolina. High Point, North Carolina.
Roger, Roger. Well, you're 10 over here. You're 10 over on my local antenna. So just a beautiful signal. So let me say 73 to you, Brian. Thanks for dropping by, and you keep her in the roads, Roger.
Yeah, Brian. Thanks for dropping by, and you keep her in the roads, Roger. Yes, Roger, on that. Thank you so much. God bless you. And you have a wonderful afternoon. I thank you for taking up your time with me. And I trust your opinion. I've talked to you before. It's been a long time ago, though, and helped me with my other radio. And I get good audio reports on it all the time after you help me set it up. So I'll talk to you later, and Lord willing, and I'll talk to... and I'll be clear. I'm ready to go eat. So, W4 RIP Whiskey 4 Romeo India Papa, Brian, North Carolina. We're clear. Oh.
Roger, Brian. One thought before you take off, buddy. You might want to pull that mic to the corner of your lips and talk across it, as opposed to directly into it. Pull it to the side of your lips, to the corner of your lips, and talk across it, Roger.
To the corner of your lips and talk across it, Roger. Yeah, Roger, that's what I'm doing right now. I was talking directly into it. Now I'm talking on I got it at the corner of my mouth and talking into it, talking past it.
Yes, sir. Beautiful, beautiful. Get that duct tape out and tape her down, sir. 73. You have a good afternoon, beautiful weekend, Roger.
73. You have a good afternoon, beautiful weekend, Roger.
K9UIL. Kilo Alpha 3 Delta.
KC4EMH.
Kilowatt Delta 8 Golf, Kilowatt Romeo.
Somebody's mentioned Kingfish. Yes, Roger, Kingfish, A number 1. Roger, Roger.
Fish, yes, Roger, Kingfish, number 1. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. K9 Uniform Italy, Mexico, beer 10%.
Roger, Roger. I got to get out of here. Where were you guys earlier? We could have had a party. You waited too long. Join us earlier next Friday, like maybe 3:45, 4 o'clock, somewhere in there, so we can get together and figure out what's happening. But anyway, this is KC9VKV 73. All we're clear.
This is KC9VKV 73. All we're clear.
All right, I'll set an alarm. Kilowatt Delta 8 Golf, Kilo Romeo.